Salutations, listeners.
Baller Miguelis.
Nanu. Thank you for tuning in. This is Three Men in a Basement, and we are the Ultra Crepidarians. My name is Colin McLeod.
Mark Culp here.
Action Jackson.
Mike Piazza.
Yeah!
In this podcast, we review movies, and we deliver to you, the listener, an average schmuck's opinion about hidden gems in the wide world of cinema. In this show, we try and target movies that are not total blockbuster smashes. They're not busting any blocks.
No.
Ones that are not so obscure that you couldn't get your hands on a copy, even if you were to, say, take a mattock out into your backyard and dig a very large hole and search the earth for treasures.
That's what I typically do on Sundays.
You wouldn't have to do that to find these movies.
I usually go in head first.
Ooh.
That's a risky maneuver, but I like it.
Yeah, the mole strategy. Mm-hmm. Instead, we try and target movies that are right in the middle, right in that sweet spot, things that you may have heard of. Maybe you saw once upon a time and you're wondering if they deserve another watch. That's where we come in. We do the leg work for you. Or the eye work.
Yeah.
The eye and ear work.
Yeah, it's a bit of an armpit,
mouth work, too.
We
A little bit of mouth work. This is getting dangerously close to something that...
That's Three Men After Dark.
Yeah.
It's more mouth, less teeth.
Yep, you'll find us right on that corner. Delivering...
A little bit of lip service.
That's extra. You can go all mouth, but if you want lips, it'll cost.
Extra.
all gums. Strictly gums.
It's all uvula.
Oh, so it's a girl house.
Well, we'll see.
Fuck, where were we?
We were where we were always meant to be.
Always meant to be. Reviewing these movies. Trying to figure out whether or not you need to see these movies. We let you know. We review them. We rate them. Deliver to you that info. And then you can decide for yourself. Because we're not... Who the fuck are we? We're not going to tell you what to watch.
No.
Actually, that's exactly what we're going to do. So...
Oh, really?
Buckle up.
Okay.
What did we watch?
Buckos.
What did we watch this week?
Ooh, we watched a bit of a Lockout,
Yeah.
if you will.
No tag out, though.
Yeah.
Just
a
Lockout.
different movie. Lock in.
Not
something
open
separate.
in. Lockout.
Yeah.
Yes.
You sure?
No? Yes. Are you sure?
50%.
About 93%.
Okay, so 93% plus 50% plus 60%.
We're like at least 400 or 500%.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's math.
Yeah.
Look it up.
That's real bad math.
So we're pretty sure.
Lockout. Okay, what do we got for Lockout? First of all, let's go cherries.
No cherry here. I have seen this once before.
I have never seen this movie.
Nor have I. It came out while I was at the theater, and it's like passingly familiar in that way, but honestly, it had been so long, it was coming completely fresh.
This is also a good opportunity to introduce that this is not only our 50th episode, 50, whoa, but because it's a multiple of 5, it is an episode that ends in 5 or 0. It is a fan submission.
Woo! Mm-hmm.
So, who do we got that submitted this?
Well, a bit of a John Clay.
A bit of a John.
A bit of a John.
He's a bit of a John.
Just a little bit of a John.
Well, I don't want to go. You never go full John.
Don't
Never go
John.
full John.
No,
No.
that's
No.
just a little bit of a John.
No.
Yeah, we got John. You said John Clay to thank for this.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
You know, you know him.
Oh, all too well.
Oh my God.
Actually, I have no idea who
I'm
this
sorry.
is.
He's a bit of a character, if you will.
Bit of a John, bit of a character.
Well, aren't we all?
It's a bit of a lot of things.
Bit of a lot of
This guy
things.
is just fractionated down
Man.
to just itty bitty pieces. Okay.
I wonder what else he's a bit of.
We are going to save, as we usually do, we're going to save John's message until spoiler territory, just in case there's any nuggets in there that might ruin this movie for novel eyes.
Yeah.
Right?
And fresh eyes.
Okay, so we got 2 cherries on this one.
Yeah.
Yep. Couple of pip pops, if you will. Little pip pop.
I think I heard a pip pop here or there.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it popped.
Okay, Lockout, 2012 movie, rated PG-13.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, there were definitely times where I felt like they could have turned it to an R, and they chose not to.
Yeah, if they just turned the camera a little bit to the left.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is like I think this is in our territory. I think it's a soft R. It's definitely like, I think the target demographic for this movie, I know conclusively that the target demographic for this movie is American males aged 13 to 29.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so...
Which none of us are.
No, but I mean, I've got the maturity of a 13-year-old boy, so
Fair.
and I was,
Fair.
raised in the U.S., except for that brief stint I did in feudal Japan, where I trained up in ninjutsu. But other than that, I've basically lived in the U.S. my whole life, so I do think this is a soft R, not a PG-13.
Yeah,
It's like a soft cheese.
Yes, like a brie.
Ooh, yes. Now, again, not to go too spoilery on this, but I think that there were fluids that were missing that would have made it an R. And we can expand upon that.
I kind of want you to expand upon it now.
Well, I can't, because we've got the curtain up.
There's only so many fluids, Mark.
Well, there
We
are
saw
only
most
four
of them.
humors.
Ask a chemist.
That's a doctor.
That's science. Look it up.
Okay, so 1 hour and 35 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd say right on the nosy.
Yep.
Tight 90.
I felt like I wouldn't have wanted it to be longer,
No.
but I felt like the last 5 minutes they just kind of decided, okay, let's just skip. It's over.
Yep.
So maybe there is a cut of this that is much longer, perhaps.
I don't think this movie needs to be any longer.
No, neither do I. I'm
No,
glad that they did it.
Yeah.
It told its story in the time allotted.
I think it told, I think we'll get to spoiler territory.
Yeah.
Okay, we need that son of a bitch read description out here. He needs to tell us what the fuck this movie's about.
All right, I'll see if I can find him here.
That's him finding. Hang on, sorry. Also, hang on. I gotta go back. Find something else real quick. I need you to find something for me.
All right, let me see if I can find him. Oh, hello!
I know
Hello!
this is- I
My
know-
name is Reed!
For those of you in cyberspace, I know you can't see what
Don't
he
ruin
did.
the magic!
He just waved his pen around the microphone.
Like a magic wand.
I don't know what you're talking about!
Sorry, I was mistaken. He was actually searching for Reed the whole time.
Oh, yes.
Oh, thank you! Thank you! Okay, here we go. A man wrongly convicted of conspiracy to commit espionage against the U.S. is offered his freedom if he can rescue the president's daughter from an outer space prison taken over by violent criminals. Okay.
If Christopher Walken was a Muppet.
I don't know. It was,
Morty, I don't think that's the plot of the movie.
Oh, but that is what it says. That is what it says.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you understand any of that?
No, maybe give us that one more time
Let me,
in like a...
Well, hang on. I'm sorry. Get out of here.
We're gonna help Reed's balls drop
Yep.
just a...
Here you go. A man wrongly convicted of conspiracy is... Fuck you. You just did that. A man wrongly convicted of conspiracy to commit espionage against the U.S. is offered his freedom if he can rescue the president's daughter from an outer space prison taken over by violent criminals.
Criminals.
Don't
judge.
you make him go criminal on your ass.
Ian McClellan.
Ian McClellan.
Do you want me to pull the high voice out again? Because I can't. It makes us all uncomfortable.
I think
It does make my asshole pucker a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a part of the magic. Okay, I'm sorry.
I think Keith or Sullivan
think-
would have something to say about that.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it.
It's
right?
what
Yeah.
happened. It's what
That's-
happened.
That's the
description
nuts
is-
and bolts.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to punch somebody in the fucking nuts at IMDb for these overly specific genres. Like, genres are supposed to be broad and sweeping. So, for Genry's here, we've got conspiracy thriller. What the fuck?
That's so weirdly specific.
That's way too specific. Just say thriller.
Yeah.
Just say thriller.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
But it's a conspiracy.
It's... Oh.
It's a conspiracy to thrill.
They're conspiring to thrill
Is
you.
that like
Oh my-
is that like a less fun version of License to Kill, Conspiracy to Thrill?
That's,
Oh my god.
that's the misdemeanor version.
Wait, is this actually a genre? One person army?
Oh my
Lord.
god.
That's an amazing genre.
I mean, I get why somebody sat there and went like, yeah, that's a genre.
See, I like space
But, like-
sci-fi.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just overly redundant.
you might say
genres-
it's unnecessarily redundant.
Yes.
But wait, they've got space sci-fi and sci-fi?
I think the last three here, action, sci-fi, thriller.
That's all you need.
That's all. Yeah,
That's all you need.
I think that was what the original tags were. for
Probably.
this. And then they added
Hashtags.
space. They added space, sci-fi, one-man army, dark comedy and conspiracy thriller. Again, the only one there that I might say, okay,
Dark
maybe,
comedy.
is dark comedy, but honestly, I wouldn't call dark comedy a genre. I would call comedy a genre, and under the auspice of comedy, there is dark comedy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wouldn't even classify this as dark comedy. I would classify it as just comedy.
Yeah.
I would say there's a significant portion of this movie that is comedy. I would say the lion's share is action, and yes, it is sci-fi.
And some of it's dark.
And sure, probably thriller.
But is it a rom-com?
Absolutely a rom-com.
Absolutely a rom-com.
Come on.
Okay,
Like
good.
Victoria and Abdul.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm still gonna die on that hill. In fact, you guys have moved on. That's still where I am right now.
Yeah, we've moved right on over to Stardust.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Grace has never forgiven you.
That's fine.
She gives you no grace.
Whoa. Come on.
Fact check.
Come on, Grace. Come on.
I feel like at least half the time we forget that like people can't see our facial expressions. Okay,
I feel like they can feel them, though.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're putting an energy into the mic.
Feel my face.
Who we got in this movie?
Well, there's a little guy you may have heard of.
Oh, that guy. I know that guy.
Guy Pearce. Just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
I kind of enjoy Guy Pearce.
I love Guy Pearce. I think he's awesome.
Yes, I agree. Okay, so Guy Pearce, not only an actor, but also a well-known director and writer. We know him from Memento.
Hurt Locker.
Oh, yeah.
Hurt Locker.
L.A. Confidential.
And believe it or not, Back to the Outback.
I don't know if I'm actually supposed to know this or if he's making a joke.
No, it's an animated film about a spider in Australia.
About a spider.
I mean, I'm not doubting that it exists.
Yep.
I'm just doubting whether or not I'm supposed to have heard of it.
You should not have heard of it.
You say it's an animated film about a spider in Australia?
Yep.
Kind of want to check it out.
Yep.
If you're going to have a spider, it better be on Australia.
Yeah.
This is the scariest spiders.
Those are the worst.
First time I ever saw Guy Pearce was in a Count of Monte Cristo. He played Fernand Mondego.
Who else we got in this movie?
Well, we've got Maggie Grace playing Emily Warnock.
The president's daughter.
Yes.
She's very graceful.
Quite graceful. I think most people will probably recognize her from, I think two things are the big ones, Taken and Lost.
I would agree. Yeah.
You know,
Who was she playing those?
In Taken, I believe she was the daughter.
She was the daughter that was taken.
Yeah. Yep.
Super hot.
Yeah.
Like, crazy
And
hot.
super good at getting kidnapped and held hostage.
Well, that's a part of being hot.
I mean, Guy Pearce is pretty hot, too.
Fair.
But
But he's not getting kidnapped.
Maggie
No.
Grace. Good Lord.
Yeah. And then in Lost, she played Shannon. I don't know. It's been a while, but
Yeah.
you know,
Was she the pregnant one? No.
Oh.
No, she wasn't the pregnant one.
she would have been. Maybe.
I have never seen Lost.
Ah,
You should
okay.
find it.
It's lost. I can't.
Well, start looking.
Somebody lent it to me, and that motherfucker disappeared almost immediately.
Yeah,
I've seen your collection. That doesn't surprise me.
gotta keep looking. We also had. Oh man, who do we want to go here? I think Peter Stormare.
Stormare?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays the drunk Russian in everything
Yeah.
all the time, forever.
Fargo. He played Satan in Constantine. That was a
Oh,
cool
fuck,
role.
he was so good in
That
that.
was a really cool role
Oh,
for him.
God, that was so cool. That actually was a little bit of a break from his normal thing, but, like, yeah, like, Fargo, he's the guy who kills Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
He plays the drunk Russian in Armageddon.
Yeah, and
Right.
he played a drunk Russian in American Gods.
Yes. I mean, he's basically just, you know exactly what we're talking about, right? He's got a deep voice. He looks very menacing. He looks like he's a little tipsy kind of all the time, and he looks like he probably has a gun on his person somewhere and will just fire it randomly into a crowd. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who'd, like, hunt you down and kill you. He seems like the kind of guy, like, you bump into and he's gonna mess you up, but
Yeah.
he's pretty easy to get away from. Like an alligator.
Yeah.
Right? Just zigzag, and you'll lose him.
And his voice is so distinct. I think
Yes. Oh,
that's the thing that like really
Like he ate a handful of gravel.
I always think of his role in Longmire. He basically plays like a off-the-grid conservationist named Chance. Super scary character, really unpredictable, very good arc.
Yeah. I would argue that the next most prominent role might be Joe Gilgun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays kind of a loose cannon,
Unhinged.
you know, and he does it very well, you know.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. A couple things that are on our list, Harry Brown, that kind of thing. But I also think Vincent Reagan deserves a call out here. Both Vincent Reagan and Joe Gilgun are Scottish actors. And Vincent Gilgun, his highest profile role was probably in 300. He played the captain. I believe he was the guy with one eye. Is that accurate?
No, that was the
No.
guy that played Faramir, David Wenham.
Yeah, he was the father who, like, he watched his son die, and then he kind of went crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
His role in The Last Witch Hunter with Vin Diesel was really cool.
That movie was so much better than I thought it was going to
Yeah, it was way better than it deserved to be.
be. It was really good.
But you don't place Vin Diesel and Michael Caine on the same platform and not make it.
Not win.
Yeah. And Elijah Wood.
Not as good as Elijah Metal.
No.
But better than Elijah Paper.
Still sturdy.
And I would argue much more sustainable than Elijah Plastic.
Well, Elijah Plastic is just... That dude is very bad for the environment.
And will never go away.
No.
That's the problem.
Yeah, guy melts under pressure.
Yeah, you would definitely know this dude by face, probably, but perhaps not by name. I think that's kind of...
Yeah.
Lenny James, maybe?
Yeah, Lenny James is a face that you would recognize for sure.
Oh, yeah, he plays Saul in Snatch. That's where I know him from. He was also in The Walking Dead.
Yep.
I watched only like a couple seasons of The Walking Dead, but I do know that he was in The Walking Dead. He plays Morgan.
He has a very, like, I don't know, like, he just seems very, like, wise, I guess. I don't know, like, his delivery is, he has, like, a warm delivery. Like, you just trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he might send you on a quest.
Yeah,
First
but
time...
but you'd take that.
Oh, you'd absolutely take the quest.
Oh,
I'm not-
absolutely.
because, like, the fate of the world is at stake. I mean, he's not going to give you a shitty quest. Like,
No.
like, oh, you know, I'm sending you on a quest for chimichangas at 7-Eleven.
No, there's
Bring
some
them back by 11 p.m., otherwise my hunger will become too much. No, it's like...
there's some serious loot at the end of this quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's asking, it's important.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much all we got.
Yeah.
Okay, so, would you recommend this movie?
You go first.
Yes, and I have.
I love how
That was decisive.
I had some trepidation, and you just went right for it.
I don't feel like I expected him to be so decisive about that. There was no hedging.
Nah.
He just, yep.
No hedging or edging, just yes.
Are you going to qualify it at all, or just a solid yes?
I would say a solid yes. I mean,
Sweet.
I guess I could put the qualifier on there that if I know somebody that doesn't like action movies, but even still, I would recommend this movie to a general audience, and if you don't like action movies, then you probably aren't going to watch it.
That's fair.
I am going to hedge and say, like, kinda.
A little bit.
I would recommend it to myself. I would absolutely recommend this to anybody, but especially, like, American males ages 13 to 29.
Yeah.
Like, its target demographic, I think, would just lap this up.
Oh, yeah.
I would go wider under the conditions of, like, if you're looking for a sort of, like, no-holds-barred action thriller, things exploding, Michael Bay type thing, this is a great choice.
Or anybody that's a really big fan of the conspiracy thriller genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's
Of course, 'cause
definitely
there's so many of those.
Yeah.
The conspiracy thrillers. They're,
Or one-man army fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan of space sci-fi, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, which this is, I heard recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spy-fi.
Spy-fi.
Ooh.
I feel like that's a category all on its own.
Oh, yeah.
And doesn't deserve a tag.
It's definitely different than space sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's short for space sci-fi, but it's definitely distinct.
Yeah.
And we need to make a new tag about it.
Would spy-fi be like clandestine internet access?
I feel like it would be
Oh, there you go.
espionage.
I feel like spy-fi might be a good short term for a man-in-the-middle attack. Right? Like... for those listeners who are familiar with that particular, like, nefarious digital behavior, I feel like spy-fi is something that could definitely...
I like it. Not a band name, but
No.
a good word.
Yeah.
A good word. Okay, speaking of good words, yeah, okay, I'll recommend it. My qualifiers are going to be, like, are you looking for a movie to just turn your brain off and just enjoy a ride? Don't think about it. And I guess maybe that's just action.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there are action movies that, like, you can really tune into. It's
not a
like,
thinking
get
movie.
something out of.
Nothing from Michael Bay, but
No, but, like, Rambo.
yeah.
Like, Rambo's got some fucking substance.
I dial
right?
into that one.
Yeah. But, like, this is definitely, like, turn your brain off, like, pretty colors are happening and explosions,
Yeah.
and, like, people are talking funny.
No, one of the exact opposite examples, like Rambo, for me, Predator. Like, I
Oh, yeah.
dialed all the way into that movie every single
man.
time.
I fucking love Predator. And anyone that doesn't love Predator, I don't want to talk to you.
Speaking of which, my favorite movie in the Predator franchise is the newest one, Prey. So good.
I have not seen it.
So good.
You son of a bitch. What is it, Dylan? Isn't that his fucking name? There's a Dutch.
Dutch.
Wait, I know Dutch is a character, but was Dutch Carl Weathers?
Oh, no, Dutch was...
I think it's Dylan. Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Wait, wasn't Dutch Arnold?
Is that what it was?
I think so.
I know Dutch was a character.
I was talking to somebody recently about Predator, and I want to say Dutch.
Yep, Dutch is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Dylan is Carl Weathers. Dylan, you son of a bitch.
God, that's so badass.
It is, because they've got big muscles.
Yeah.
And I want big muscles. I'm not willing to work for them.
Do you know how they made that movie?
I want them.
A lot of people don't know this. They actually had Arnold come to set, and they used a syringe, and they pulled some juice out of his bicep, and they just dribbled it over a scroll, and that was the script for Predator.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it worked.
That's science.
Yep.
Look it up.
The science of filmmaking.
It's amazing.
The
Really.
magic of movies.
Truly. So Rex around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a weak rec.
Okay.
Weak rec.
Like a half wreck?
A semi.
It's just a raging semi. Okay.
Good for photos.
Are we ready to blah, 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 blah?
Bwah, 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 bwah. Bwah, bwah. We did it. We all played the same Bwah game.
I think we did. Yeah,
Sweet.
We made it across the finish line,
We're
guys.
best friends now.
That's from Space Conflict, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is. Yep. With all the W's and all the lasers and the W wings.
1,000 and zippity-zows.
Starfighter.
Okay. Those blast mean we are in spoiler territory. If you don't want this movie ruined, turn this podcast off right now.
Shut it off.
I'm talking to you. And then go watch the movie, perhaps.
Yeah.
And then turn this podcast back on, perhaps. And then listen to it a couple more times.
Yeah.
So we can get those sweet, sweet endorsement deals.
Oh, yeah. But I will say that this movie, I don't think could really be spoiled. It's a ride.
No, you're absolutely right. It is fucking just... And it's just like, okay, we're in spoiler territory. We're gripping and ripping, guys.
Yeah.
This material is so fucking well worn. Like,
honestly,
there are so many movies with this exact plot. Like, person gets arrested, either goes to prison or is being threatened with prison time, and then they need to pull a job in order to free themselves and save somebody else.
One last job.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get back into this. We're going to circle back because there are a lot of movies that this is very much like. But, I mean, it's Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's Escape from New York. And the main character, played by Guy Pearce, is Snake Plissken.
Yep.
And that's it. Like,
and less cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hold that against him.
Snake Plissken has an eye patch.
That's a high bar. I mean, that's like,
you can't beat an eye patch.
No, I mean, that's a 10, though. Like, you can't...
But he's trying.
Yeah.
He's trying. He's got
but I mean, like, 8's really good, but you can't be like, oh, well, you're not a 10. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you can't hold it against him that he's not Snake Plissken. Nobody is.
No, I fucking love Escape from New York.
Oh, yeah. Well,
such a classic.
Mucho good. Okay, so I think we can kind of march through this pretty quick. I needed to say that because we say that every week and then we never fucking do it. But
so we will take our time.
I do think the beats of this are going to be very familiar to the audience, though. So this movie basically starts with an action sequence in a hotel room. People are getting their asses handed to them. There was this guy, you wouldn't believe it. He was like a one-man army. And he starts fucking these guys up, and then he ends up in the room. And then,
being interrogated.
Yeah, and then more shit happens, and he runs away and blah, blah, blah. And he ends up in an interrogation room. And they're looking for the thing that he was looking for, and there was a thing, and then people were missing him.
Lots of gunshots, lots of punches.
There's a briefcase. Everyone wants the briefcase.
Meanwhile, Space Prison is in orbit around Earth.
MS-1.
MS-1.
Maximum Security MS-1.
Yes.
Which is, I think, what they called it.
They have 3 different ATM machines on that space station.
Yeah.
You know, and it's basically self-sufficient. Most of them just sit around watching MLB baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then they have, like, another space station right next to it that is like a whole police department.
Not connected.
For space.
Not connected. Just in orbit, near it, but not connected.
Named the LOPD, which stands for Low Orbit Police Department.
Why is it separate from the prison?
Writing was not the strong suit of this movie.
At all.
Okay, again,
part of what I love about it.
Not to keep getting off track, but like, look at this sheet. I wrote a fucking novel.
Yeah.
And most of it was just me complaining about shit that it's just like, why the fuck would you do that? That is so silly. Why would you write it this way? It's so easy to write it not this way.
Can I just state one of my favorite through lines through this whole movie is they empty the gun, they drop the gun, and it's never seen again.
Yeah.
Just
keep the gun.
Just keep the fucking gun.
Just keep the gun. That's
No,
it.
once it's out of bullets, it's actually useless.
Oh,
That's
is
true.
that how it works?
Yeah.
Unless you hit someone with it, which they did do.
A few times.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you can only hit someone with it if it has bullets.
Oh.
That's true. I
Without-
heard that too.
Without
Okay.
bullets, it
Yeah.
doesn't. You can't.
So when the bullets are gone, it's just a prop.
well, they had
Basically.
mass. They had mass, and without the bullets, it's very light.
Makes
It's
sense.
Very light.
Makes sense.
Almost a prop,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah. It's basically constructed out of sponge sugar at that point. If you were to hit somebody with it, it would just
It would
kind
just
of
shatter and be
into-
really dramatic.
into dust.
It's fine.
Gotcha.
If you knew as much about guns as I do, you would know that.
Yeah.
But you don't.
Absolutely
So,
not.
I know a lot about these.
Which
things.
end do the bullets come out of?
The which sign again?
The pointy bit.
Yep, comes out of the pointy bit.
Yep.
I believe it's called a bayonet. That's where the bullets come from.
Oh.
That's where they shoot right out the tip of the bayonet.
Just the tip?
Well, that's how you get the job done.
This is like getting. Have you guys ever like heard like recordings of like young kids explaining what they think sex is?
Yeah!
Where babies come from? It's like, and then the guy puts his thing in the girl's butt and pees inside of her. And then she poops out an egg, and then there's a baby.
9 months later.
Yeah, it's like where babies come from.
Pretty sure that exact thing happened in South Park. You put it in her and pee.
Yeah, right. This feels a little like that, but with guns.
Yeah.
You know, which just makes it
Not too dissimilar.
makes it fun and American.
Yeah.
You know.
And actually quite on brand for this movie.
Yeah. Okay, so he's in an interrogation room. Meanwhile, on this giant space prison that's floating around Earth, the president's daughter, obviously,
Yes.
goes to the space prison to make sure that the prisoners aren't being mistreated because she's got a good heart
Yeah.
and she cares about space prisoners.
Well, that's why she was elected.
And this space prison isn't just like a random space prison.
No.
This is full of prisoner popsicles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Stasis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frozen bad guys.
And what they do with these prisoner popsicles, PPs as they call them.
Yeah.
What they do with the PPs, they keep them frozen.
I would
Like-
never freeze my pee-pee.
Like a bag of
Never.
peas.
I would
They call them
never do it.
PPPs.
Ah.
Because they're like a bag of frozen peas.
3 Ps.
Yeah, so it's PPPs. And they keep them frozen, as you do with your peas.
Yeah.
And
Maybe not your peepees.
there are rumors that they are experimenting on these prisoners and trying to get the freezing down right so as to leverage it for long space travel.
Deep space.
Hibernative naptosis.
Yeah.
So,
Wait, you know what? And I think I mentioned this at the time. If I'm going to prison for 30 years,
Put me to sleep.
yeah, wake me up when it's done.
Yep.
It'll be fine.
I feel like yet another absolutely glaring plot hole in this movie.
That sounds like a
It's
good...
like a prison sentence is not a prison sentence if you serve it unconscious.
You cannot be rehabilitated if you're not awake.
And you're not losing time off of your life either.
Nope.
So,
You literally just walk through a door and then suddenly
You walk through another door.
You're just awake and you are still the same criminal and you're back in the world and ready to rock and roll.
It's beautiful because they're saving the bad guys for later. So
That's
they're
true.
not our problem now.
Right.
It's true. This is like the criminal sciences version of what we currently do with our trash.
Yes.
It's like, well, if we just bury it, then it's the next generation's
Yeah.
problem.
just don't dig it up. Just don't dig it up.
Save the problem for later. It'll be fine.
It'll still be there.
We'll be dead, so we won't have to worry about it.
I'm not going
right.
to dig it up. You dig it up.
That's like what I mean. That fucking asshole past Colin always does, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, this is future Colin's problem.
Yeah.
And then here I am, future Colin, and I'm like, that son of a bitch.
God damn it.
What the fuck?
How do I push this off even further?
But he didn't have to do it,
No.
bastard.
No. So, as you might suspect, things do not go according to plan.
Well, they don't allow guns on the prisoner side of the glass.
Right, but they don't send them through any kind of metal detector.
No.
It's an honor system.
No.
It's just the honor system.
Yeah.
Totally reasonable.
Absolutely. So all of the security personnel that are in the room with these Supermax hardened criminal popsicles, just based on, yeah, you don't look like you're carrying a gun. Go on in.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I think there's even a scene where he just puts the gun into his sock while he's at the point where they're asking for his guns.
And being observed.
Yeah, you know what? He pulls it out, he looks at it. Well, he doesn't actually do this, but he basically does this. And he's, you know what? Nah, this is going to go in my sock.
Sock.
Nobody's the wiser.
No. Nobody paid attention to that.
Actually, it was like 4 or 5 people saw it and were just like, but he wouldn't actually do that.
No.
So he's fine to go in.
Yeah. Nobody's stupid enough to do that.
Nobody. Except for Hawk.
Yeah, fucking Hawk.
Hawk.
So there's this quick scene where the president's daughter is interviewing one of the convicts,
Mr. Heidel.
The PPPs.
One of the PPs. He's a little abrasive, and for whatever fucking reason, her bodyguard, the president's daughter, is inside of the bulletproof enclosure with the criminal instead of being at her side where he could protect her.
Oh, yeah, he's got to keep her safe by putting himself in harm's way and putting her in a completely vulnerable position with no protection at all whatsoever.
That's why you always secure somebody else's oxygen mask first.
Right.
Why was he there? Why?
That's a question
we
never got the
so
answer
many
to.
more of these.
Like what tends to happen, the PP gets the gun.
Yeah.
And chaos ensues.
People died.
He basically marches to the bridge with a scientist. You know he's a scientist because he's got a white coat on.
Ooh, yeah.
And everybody with a white coat, forever, in perpetuity, is a scientist if they've got a white coat. So he forces the scientist to open up all the pods and then promptly kills him.
Releases 500 of these PPs.
500 of the worst, nastiest PPPs. I mean, these motherfuckers got left in the back of the fridge.
Yeah.
They're behind the frozen spinach, if you get what I'm saying.
Freezer burned.
Oh.
It's a good thing they knew what to do when they woke up, because they all just started doing what they do.
Yeah.
They immediately just get out and start rioting and being prison. Actually, though, so one of the concerns that she had was the safety of the actual procedure to freeze them. Like, there were reports that it causes dementia and psychosis and, memory loss and all this crazy shit.
Yeah, let's take a bunch of murderers and make them crazy.
Emphysema, rabies, scabies, whatever, what have you.
Salmonella.
A touch of dysentery.
But what you said is definitely something that they should have used in the movie. And instead of just thinking about it as this constellation of potential symptoms from all of this experimentation and freezing, they absolutely should have just called it freezer burn.
Yep.
Because that would have been fucking cool.
Yep.
Why wasn't that not a line?
I know, you can feel it. Like, again, we've already talked about the target demographic for this movie. Basically, if you love going to Applebee's and your most excited part of your day is when they deliver mozzarella sticks at Applebee's to you, you're going to fucking love this movie. Or if your favorite restaurant is B-dubs.
Or if you take...
I feel targeted.
Lifestyle tips
I'm targeting you. That's why you feel that way.
If you take lifestyle tips from Guy Fieri, this one's for you.
I do love Guy Fieri, but yes, your point stands. Anyway, I say all that to say, that person, the person who's like, oh, I've just finished my mozzarella sticks at Applebee's, I'm going to go to B-dubs and then go home and watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. That person, when they heard the line, he's got freezer burn,
would have
shit their fucking pants.
Yeah.
They would have to have gotten a new couch.
With all of the cheesy jokes and one-liners in this movie, how did that not make the cut? I feel like somebody said it in the drawing room and they were like, nah, that's too on the nose.
Nothing is too on the nose with this movie.
Come on, guys. We're trying to make a movie here.
This is a serious movie, all right?
So as you can imagine, the prisoners take over the fucking space prison.
No!
But the space cops can't help because they are in their precinct.
Adjacent.
Which is not attached. It's a different fucking...
It's the police department, Colin.
Yeah, well,
it's
that's
the police
true.
department.
That's true.
And what tips them off to a mass breakout on the facility? A fire alarm. Yeah. A fire alarm is what tips them off that something went tits up.
Well, also, they weren't able to punch in the code for the knockout gas because the guy goes 3, 5, 7, 6, 2, 1, and then he gets shot in the head. He wasn't able to finish the code because he needs to punch it in really slowly while calling out the numbers.
We needed a movie.
Everybody to hear.
Yep.
There are so many points where we could have not had a movie in this movie.
So many points.
So this could not be one of those points.
So prisoners take over. They've got the president's daughter. At this point, they don't know that they've got the president's daughter, but the Secret Service knows that they have the president's daughter.
Oh, shit. You know what? Hang on.
Hang on.
This moment that you're talking about here, I thought when he said the president's daughter's name,
Warnock.
Yeah, I thought that was an acknowledgement that, you've got the president's daughter. But now it makes sense. They were frozen. They wouldn't know who the president was at that time.
Oh.
This is a thinking man's piece.
Wow, this is deep state shit.
Jesus Christ, I
They
had this
would
whole
not
thing wrong.
have known who the president is.
I hope somebody mentioned that in the writer's room.
Oh, absolutely. No, this was a feature of the whiteboard in the writer's room. So they have the president's daughter. Guy Pearce is getting the shit kicked out of him in this interrogation room, and then they light up a cigarette and go, "We've got a job for you." And he goes, "I pulled my last job." And they go, "Yeah? Well, you're never getting out of this place if you don't pull this job." And he goes, "Motherfucker." And then he agrees to it, and they send him up.
It's pretty close, actually.
And then
Not far off.
they send him on a mission to get in there. Which, I mean, if you're going to choose somebody, he's a good choice. Because, I mean, the guy's like a one-man army.
Yeah. It's no Air Force One, you know?
Shit writes itself. It's ridiculous.
It does. So he gets on there, and I mean, I think the middle of the movie is exactly how you would expect, right? He's fucking people up whilst trying to get her and lead her to safety and taking a page out of the Warriors book. They're bopping their way through the ship, killing just loads of people. But it's fine because they're prisoners and therefore not people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they're not really even prisoners. They're raiders, you know? They just,
Yeah.
like, randomly scream.
They're
and,
space
like,
pirates.
yeah, they're not humans. Like, they're not even acting like humans. They're just running around, yelling, screaming, fighting. Like,
If you were to go to, like, a Supermax prison right now,
that's what would happen.
every single person is just frothing at the mouth all the time, and just all they're doing is trying to kill anything in their sight.
Yeah.
It's basically like a dog with rabies, right?
Yeah,
just
raiders.
rah, 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 just anything. They snap at anything that's near them, right? Isn't that the way it works?
That's
right?
how it works.
They're completely not human and don't have feelings,
or
hopes,
emotions.
dreams,
It's
intellectual
the psychosis.
thoughts.
Yeah.
It's the psychosis.
It's the freezer burn.
It's
Again,
the freezer burn.
Thinking man's piece. They already covered it, Colin.
And the one prisoner who's not a bad guy, he's not trying to kill everybody. He's just a little confused.
His eggs are scrambled.
He's just a little confused. He's just toddling around, having a good time,
Major freezer
trying to
burn.
put the square block through the triangle hole, and it's not working. What are you gonna do?
Oh, so you're alluding to, in the initial, like, action scene, the briefcase that everyone's after, Guy Pearce's character had thrown it at this guy, and this guy ended up going to prison. So Guy Pearce's character, one of the reasons why he agreed to go to the space station to rescue the president's daughter was because he was going to meet his partner who knew where that briefcase was stored.
And free him and bring him back so that they could avenge their buddy.
Do you want to talk for a second about how the guy got caught and sent to prison?
I would love to.
He is carrying a pistol, bumps into another person. The gun falls out of his jacket, goes off when it hits the ground.
That's how guns work.
That's how guns work. Shoots a cop. The gun with nobody aiming or pulling the trigger, shoots a cop, and then a different cop shoots him.
Yeah.
And then you go to Supermax.
And then
you go to Supermax space prison.
What are you going to do?
Yep.
You can become a PPP.
Yeah.
Yep. So, okay, going back to where we were, at this point, the president is now on the police department space station.
Yeah.
It's no moon,
Precinct.
I guess.
I got my gun and my badge. You take me off this case one more time.
God damn it. God, it's...
I'm walking right out that door. Except not, because it's an airlock and I'll die, but I'm getting on the next shuttle out of this fucking place.
You think the guys that work at the police space precinct have a beat?
Yeah. I mean, where else are you going to pick up your space donuts?
Yeah, fair.
Right.
Confidential informants and...
That's right. I'll meet you at Alpha Centauri.
I don't know. Do you think we'd put a president in space, though?
Nope.
Fuck you. Okay, so where we are? We're in the
So they're
middle.
bopping through the ship.
travels to the ship on Space Force One.
Space Force One? Space Force One.
That's
Band
a band
name.
name?
Yep, Space Force One.
Space Force One. Keep it Space Force One. Okay. So they are...
For all the shitting on this movie that I'm going to do...
Oh, and
this
there's going to be a
episode,
lot more.
I genuinely love this movie. I really do.
Yeah, I know. I actually have a couple of notes here in this fucking tome of notes that are basically like, this movie is kind of shit, but hey, if you want just like a whole bunch of action to happen in front of you and like some pretty fucking witty lines, it's a really good choice.
Yeah.
Trust me, it can just happen and you don't have to think too hard about it.
But that's the beauty of, like, a bad action movie, is that, like, all of those negatives turn into positives because it's just
You just
fucking
don't
ridiculous.
care
It
anymore.
almost becomes a B movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're bopping through the ship. And not to get into too much detail, I mean, I think we can basically just say, like, they found his partner, his eggs were scrambled, as Jackson said. He gave some cryptic message about the location and access to the briefcase. We'll fucking get to that. And they get into spacesuits. They jump off the fucking ship. Somehow these spacesuits are able to not only go through the Earth's atmosphere at, like, Mach 15, but also they're able to shed them, and then they have parachutes.
In the stratosphere.
Don't fucking ask about the Deus Ex Machina parachute spacesuit jumps.
Fine.
Then they blow up the ship and almost roll credits. There's this very weird scene where the hot chick escapes from her hospital room only to go on this
investigative journey.
Yeah.
You could call it it's more of a montage, though, because the whole thing takes 3 minutes.
Yeah, but it's also like it's this weird kind of bizarre like
dream?
film noir fever dream, right?
Yeah.
Where she's like walking through the dark city streets and like investigating these things totally by herself.
Never mind the fact that she is the president's daughter.
And actively missing from a fucking hospital.
Yeah, makes sense.
She's just doing this all on her own.
She had cash in her wallet when she fell from space.
Yeah.
So she doesn't need a credit card.
Nope.
Ain't nobody gonna find her.
Nope.
It's the future. Pay with the little barcode scanner thing on your wrist and away you go.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter.
So she ends up finding the briefcase, gives it to Guy Pearce. He uses it.
No, she gives it to the president. She gives
Gives
Dad.
it to Daddy, and says, "We've got an empty briefcase here, and there's shit we need to do with it."
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay. I was making a joke there, but we actually need to talk about this.
Was it always empty?
I don't fucking know. So she like gives this briefcase to her dad. And she goes, "We need to talk about this," or some shit like, "We need to do something."
We need to
about
do
this.
something.
Then the next scene is Guy Pearce in an interrogation room with, what's his name? The guy from Walking Dead.
Lenny James,
sure. And they're talking, and throughout the movie, when this has occurred, Lenny James was operating as like counsel, or maybe like
Good cop,
perhaps. So the presumption is that the same dynamic exists, right? Like Guy Pearce is in holding, right, or under arrest in some way, in custody, and Lenny James is like talking to him. The Guy Pearce gives him the briefcase, and he opens it up, and it's empty. And then he goes, "Oh, how'd you know the combination?" It's like, oh my god, he's a double agent, blah blah blah. Okay, so Lenny James is like the fucking bad guy.
Thinking man's piece, Colin.
Okay.
I immediately caught on that how did he know the combination? I picked up on that. It's a thinking man's piece.
Well, because you're a thinking man. That's how you knew it.
Thank you.
Okay, so
God.
Okay, so fucking Guy Pearce walks out, and then his lighter doesn't work, and then he like pulls out the insert to the lighter. It's like a Zippo.
Hang on. Lenny turns out to be the bad guy.
I know, that's what.
What?
You went straight to him walking.
Oh,
out.
I didn't talk about.
Yeah,
okay,
Lenny's the bad guy.
So Lenny's the bad guy, and
all right, I'm sorry. Go back.
so he like opens up the lighter, and then there's like a micro SD card stuck to the bottom of the lighter insert, which like, okay, not to sweat the small stuff, but like we've got space prison and intergalactic travel.
It's
and
a
we're
micro SD card.
still using micro SD cards.
Micro.
I mean, Amazon probably had like a backlot of them, and they were just like, we got to get rid of these things.
Got a deal.
It's 2 terabytes, Colin. It's 2 terabytes.
That's impossible. It's power levels over 9,000.
It's future
Scouter
SD.
explodes. But okay, I say all that. I wasn't even going to go into all that fucking detail, but I have to now because I'm confused as shit.
You're locked out.
I'm locked out. Oh god, they locked me out of my brain. Okay, so the micro SD card was the package. That was the thing. That was the important
supposed
shit.
to be in the briefcase.
What was in the briefcase?
What the fuck was in the briefcase where she was so confident? She was like, "We've got to talk," and she like talks to her dad, and she's all fucking like, this is important shit. I'm gonna bring it to the president, and shit's gonna happen."
Did she know the combination?
I don't know, but like, surely they must have opened it before. What the fuck?
Who knew and who did not know the combination?
They gave it to the briefcase guys.
Yeah, but did the president get it? And they're like, we don't have the combination. We can't open it, so let's take it.
That's what
back?
that's what the president says when they get like a really important briefcase that they can't open. It's like, we got to take it to somebody that knows the combination.
Call a locksmith.
We can't get into this briefcase.
Let's play it out.
It's impossible.
That's why they call it Lockout.
That's it.
Ooh,
Locked out of the briefcase.
Thinking man's piece.
Boom.
They don't have briefcase people in the U.S. government. We know this.
Well, yeah, it's true.
They might in 2079 when this movie takes place.
They're still using micro SD cards, buddy. I don't think we've come as far as we think.
And combination locks on briefcases.
Yeah.
Okay, so that gaping plot hole aside, roll credits?
Pretty much. There's some witty banter between the hot chick and the hot guy, and then they literally walk into the sunset.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And not just the sunset, but like a very, cyberpunk type, like cityscape in the background type sunset.
Like on a pier.
Yeah. Where were they walking to?
I don't know.
If they walked any further, they were going in the water.
They were on a land prison this time.
And there were no boats.
Nope.
No.
They should have been going in the other direction.
Yes. Towards the rest of the land.
Yeah. Land is good for walking.
Yes.
But it was cool.
It was cool.
You know?
If you're going to walk anywhere, the sunset is, I guess, fine.
If Guy Pearce wasn't a smoker, we wouldn't have had an ending.
That's true. Smoking saves lives.
Yeah.
We still don't know what the fuck was on that SD card. They never bothered to tell us what the package
there
was.
Were secrets.
You want to know what mystery I want to solve about this movie? Why was Lenny James' character keeping his pistachios in a fucking silk bag?
That was pretty cool, too.
It's 2079. All pistachios come in a silk bag. Don't you know?
It's actually how they're grown now.
So Lenny James is just constantly fiddling with his nutsack.
Well, until he has to fill his nuts again.
Fair.
Because...
Sometimes you got to wait for that a little bit. Like, give it a couple hours, maybe a day.
Gatorade and a ham sandwich.
That's right. Oysters,
the...
perhaps.
Yeah. It's like those like the cigarette holders, They're cool. Like you open it up, you pull one out, but at some point you have to buy them and remove them from a package and put them into another package that you only get half of them for.
Yeah.
This is that, except with nuts.
Yep.
Yes.
This is the nutsack of cigarette cases. Or the cigarette case of nutsacks.
The cigarette case of nutsacks. Is that a band?
I know it might be.
I know it's a bit protracted, but like...
It's a cigarette case of nutsacks?
The cigarette case of nutsacks.
Cigarette case of CCON? Con? That abbreviates nicely. I could wear that on a t-shirt.
The cigarette case of nutsacks. It's kind of got like a CCR type contraction.
Thinking man's piece.
So we're post credits here.
What did we like?
Let's kick off what we liked about this movie.
Okay, I've got some things. I've got a couple things listed. I actually took notes. Actually, I did more than usual. I liked the super ham. And that, this movie just is. And you're not supposed to do what we're doing to it.
You were talking about, hamming it up, like it's a hammy movie.
Mm-hmm. You don't think so?
This movie rattled my brain so much that when you said the super ham, I literally pictured a ham in spandex and a cape.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a super ham?
Yeah, you missed it. It flew by.
This is not good.
Yep.
This is not good.
Pigs fly,
it has scrambled my brain. I've got the
freezer burn.
The freezer burn.
The ham shakes.
Ham shakes.
Okay, I also enjoyed that it was action packed from beginning to end. It didn't stop,
nonstop.
You know, when it wasn't blowing up or being shot at, it was making one-liners. This is just what this was. I was there for it. Which leads me directly into my next bullet point: the one-liners. This movie's very quotable.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Almost in an Army of Darkness kind of way. Give me some sugar, baby.
Right.
It's just got those kinds of no one says that in real life.
Groovy.
Do you guys like anything at all?
There's a lot.
At all?
There's a lot about this movie that I liked. Again, the cheesy lines, the stupid one-liners, the easy quotes, just fantastic delivery. So here's where I'm at. I really like Guy Pearce. I think he's a phenomenal actor. He's done some really cool movies, cool pieces. And there are only a handful of actors I feel like could pull off the specific delivery of these lines with the great dryness that he does. Because there are so many that would just deliver this over the top and be overtly sarcastic, and he just delivers them so dry it almost isn't a joke. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes it perfect.
The lines are better for it.
Yes. Yeah, because if they were delivered with even a hint of humor in their voice, they would not be funny.
It would feel forced.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like weirdly natural, you know?
Yeah, like you could really see his character. He is just an asshole who says these things.
Kind of smug.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need that smugness.
Very full of himself.
Deliver it with conviction.
Who else would you expect to be a one-man army?
I mean, if you're going to have an army, but you can only choose one man, Guy Pearce is a perfect choice.
Choose the smug asshole.
I like... Okay, so in the beginning of the movie, after he demolishes those guys in the hotel room, he sort of like goes on the run, and he's running away from the cops and yada, yada, yada. Gets to the roof somehow. They never explain how, like a lot of things. And he, like, at one point grabs something and tries to, like, swing across the gap between two buildings. And he, like, swings directly into a window. And you are led to believe, having seen a lot of action movies, that he's going to blast through this window and continue the chase, like, through the building. And he doesn't. Like, he hits the window hard, and it, like, cracks, but does not break. And then he falls and, like, rolls away. And
it was like something out of a cartoon.
I really enjoyed that aspect of the movie because it signposted really well that, like, okay, we're gonna have some fun with this. Don't take it too seriously. Like, I don't think that we're blind to a lot of the cheese and ham that was the sandwich of this movie. Like, I think they understood it, and that one scene in the very beginning of the movie sort of illustrated that beautifully. So I really enjoyed that. I appreciated that. It is very witty, and the dialogue and the action were very good. I will say. I really, really liked... The writing was fucking garbage from like, a narrative standpoint.
Yeah, the plot was terrible.
But from a dialogue standpoint, and from like being like witty and clever and having good one-liners, outstanding. Fucking outstanding. Let's see. Yeah. It's okay for a non-stop action thrill ride with explosives and or the occasional comedy bit. Not unlike the first Transformers movie. That's what I had. That's my bullet. That was my bullet. Mm-hmm. It is very akin to the first Transformers movie in that sense. Good action, a lot of wows, a lot of pretty colors and explosions and shit. A lot of funny one-liners in between the explosions, but don't look too close.
More plot holes than Swiss cheese.
Yeah, don't put it under a microscope. Sam, put the cube in my chest.
This movie, Mark said this earlier, but this movie was not designed for what we are doing now.
Well, I mean, I think it is, right? Like, we're just trying to get what's good and what's bad, right?
Yeah.
And I think there is a lot of good and a lot of bad in this movie, right? And it's like, even a lot of, in parsing it out, I think a lot of the bad can be ignored in this movie, which is a strength of it.
Yeah,
and I think, and I think a lot of the bad, a good portion of it at least, they weren't unaware of. Like,
no.
I think we said this, was it 2 episodes ago? We said this about in Desert Saints. We're like, it wasn't not in practiced hands, right? Like, this movie similarly, like, this was in well-practiced hands. Like, they knew... Was it Desert Saints?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Was it? Like, they knew how to make a movie.
Yep.
It wasn't like these people...
Sorcerer's
Apprentice. That's what it was. They knew how to make a fucking movie. There was nothing about the movie that suggested that...
They did it wrong or poorly.
Yeah, or they were unaware, or they were like novices, so like, oh, give them a pass for being ham-fisted. It's like, no, they knew what this movie was.
They understood the assignment.
This movie is not by any stretch of the imagination complex, but a movie doesn't have to be complex to be enjoyable.
No.
So like I will live and die on that, right? Like I fucking hate that about music when people are like, oh, it's okay, fine, it sounds good, but it's like, it's not like technically complex, and it's like, who gives a fuck? It's music. I like listening to music, and it's a catchy tune.
Yeah.
That's fun. Like, it doesn't, I like Tool, but it's like, it doesn't, not everything fucking has to be Tool, where they're
Hollywood
like...
Undead.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that band. I don't know if I can fully endorse like that, but hey, if that's your jam, fine.
Yeah.
It's if something is simple but enjoyable, like, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Did you have a good time?
Did you have a good time, right?
Well,
and I feel like that's a good way to spot a snob, right? It's like, oh, well, it's not complex, or it's not challenging, or it's not difficult to whatever.
It's not what I signed up for.
No. It's like I was looking for a movie, and that's,
This was a movie.
This was a movie.
Yep.
It's more than enough. Was there anything that we didn't like about this movie?
No.
No, I think it's pretty...
No, it's perfect.
Pretty good.
Best movie.
The things that I didn't like about this movie, again, I feel like if you're here just for a silly action movie and you turn your brain off, none of these things matter. But definitely, as I was watching it...
I'm going to launch into it.
Yeah, because that's a part of the reason why we're here and we're having fun with it, okay? We're having fun with it, okay? John, we're We're having fun with it.
Is it Jonathan?
Yeah, Jonathan Claymore.
Jonathan Claymore.
Yes.
Thought really long and hard about that one.
I think he said Clay and was trying to think of something else, but Clay had already come out. He's just like, I'm just gonna add a more onto that and call it a day.
Okay.
Punch my time card and I'm out.
5 o'clock on a Friday.
Oh yeah. Okay, Jonathan Claymore.
Yep. So my first critique, and this is kind of a real dumb one, the physics did not work.
No, none of this is how physics works.
Not even a little bit.
No. I'm not a physicist, but I can confidently say that's not how physics works.
Rough idea that is not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The CGI, pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, you know what? When in that first chase scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew we were going to go there.
I was going to go there too.
It's just like, whoa, I've seen this in a video game that came out probably around the same time as this movie.
We did come to different conclusions there because I have looks like a PS1 game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It's pretty rough. Now I will, to its credit, but it's just like CGI, and then like there's this bit where he like rolls off of like the one-wheel motorcycle and he just happens to like gracefully skid across like a polished floor to like a slow stop, the transition between the CGI and the live action, I mean,
Decent.
The actual practical effects of this movie were fine.
Yes.
When they did practical effects, which was surprisingly a lot on the spaceship.
Yes.
But the CGI, which was most heavily featured in that first chase scene with the police cars and the doodads and the zippity zops, that was
really rough.
That was
hard to
bad.
watch.
And the worst part is I bet that was expensive.
It was like they sped everything up to the point where you couldn't see how bad the CG was. Mm-hmm. But they didn't quite make it that far because you could still very clearly see how bad the CG was.
I feel like if Lara Croft from the OG Tomb Raider came out of one of those cars, you'd be like, who's that hot chick that looks so realistic?
Yeah!
Right. It was
built like a Cybertruck.
It was not good. However, again, if you're drunk enough, I bet you won't notice.
Yeah. Or if you look down for about 2 minutes and then look up.
Yeah, because you wouldn't watch it. Okay, last thing on my do not likes, and this is a rather broad subject, dumb characters. I feel like there were many points in this movie where the plot hinged upon stupidity.
By many points, he means the stuff that happened between the beginning and the end.
Yes.
But only then.
Yes.
That's true.
Not
That's
before
true.
the movie. There was no dumb decisions made before. Well,
there was one dumb decision.
we put it on.
Yeah.
Look, we're here for a purpose.
Yeah.
Okay?
We were doing what we were assigned. We were doing
The
our
Lord's
duty.
work.
Yes.
The Lord's work.
Yes.
And again, you know what? I had a good time. I still recommend it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, woof.
In terms of don't likes, I think I can piggyback on Mark a little bit here. The decisions made on behalf of the characters in this movie are the only reason that there was a plot, because if any of them at any point had decided to go a different direction, it would be a very, very short movie.
Yeah.
The plot of this movie hinged on a lot of these characters being unrealistically stupid.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, though, because you didn't mention it in likes, and I'm curious if it's going to sit in dislikes or kind of where you're at with it. How would you say the cinematography was with this particular
I would say,
movie?
at best, it was basic.
Ooh, that's not a ringing endorsement.
This
No.
actually ties into one of my dislikes, which was there were so many fucking lens flares. I thought I was watching a J.J. Abrams movie.
Yeah.
Well, you need lens flares to cover up certain things.
That's how you know you're in space.
At best,
Lens
it was
flares.
basic. There were like 3 scenes where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you got creative there. But not really. There was that scene in the gravity generator thing
Amazing.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
where they were very clearly on a wire and just doing backflips in space.
What was the gravity generator doing?
I believe it was meant to recreate the same level of anxiety that we all felt the first time we watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and they took the fizzy lifting drink and were headed towards that steel spinning fan.
Yes, that is exactly what it was. And they called it the torsion,
Right.
which doesn't apply here.
Well,
Well, it's physics. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
That's physics.
It's a fly-by-wire system.
Yeah.
I think they did mention that.
But yeah, so the gravity generator kicks off.
With acid walls.
Yeah.
It burned that guy's face off.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that? Was it too hot? Was it too cold?
I think it was too cold.
They didn't explain it at all.
Never
Just,
even mentioned it.
At one point, he's allowed to touch the walls, but at one point, a dude's face touched the wall and his face melted off.
And was like the 0G, was that just when you're in the tube? So you can like walk off into the tube?
It must be, because like, why would they have that fucking machine if it didn't affect the rest of the fucking ship? But like, apparently just in that tube, you're weightless.
But then they turned it off for like a minute. What happened to the rest of the ship? Because there were definitely papers still stacked.
And
later.
people still standing on the floor.
So, was that just for the tube again?
It was never explained. But all I can say is the cinematography in that scene was the most creative cinematography in the film.
That's fair.
And I was like, okay.
Which is not the highest of bars.
No. So, being the hill that I choose to die on every single episode, I have very little to say other than, at best, it was basic.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, I got a few. Okay, just right off the bat, there's a lot of what the fuck action.
Yeah!
Like, why not? Like,
Just because.
Just because.
For example, one of my favorite what the fuck moments is the explosive collar that he was given in the beginning of his assignment.
That can't be tactical.
For bulkheads and such, and just decides to put it around this guy's neck and walk casually away from him before his head explodes off of his body and turns into space jelly.
Yet again, I'm going to say perhaps a soft R.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of blood. He was not that far away.
No, but I feel like, again, like, they didn't mince concepts or mince words. Like, the dude's head exploded. I feel like there was also, for PG-13, a fair bit of blood. And then sort of in addition to that, I feel like they were pretty heavy on the rape stuff.
Yeah.
Like one of the main bad baddies was convicted of, like,
53 counts of aggravated assault, and he mentioned, you want to know what I did before I became a rapist.
Yeah, and then there were, like several pretty, like...
He was very into Maggie.
Yeah, and there were also, like, very... like, and almost raped her in one scene. And then there were, like, a couple of very, like, clear, like, if you don't do what we want...
We're gonna let you have... We're gonna let him have you.
We're gonna let 500 prisoners have our way with your daughter.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Yeah.
Just in terms of, like, concept, I know, obviously, like, not a lot happened, but, like, in terms of concept, it's like, woof. Like, maybe a soft R. Okay, let's see. Okay, I wrote this one down. Why do the Scots have to be the bad guys? And then I thought about it a little bit more. I was like, well, to be fair, I've met some not so savory types in Glasgow that actually fit the bill here.
Fair.
So, you know, let's just cross that one right off the list of
Makes sense.
Maybe they had a point there.
Makes sense. Sorry.
Let's see. Okay, a lot of these are really specific, but, like, in the beginning of the movie, when they're, like, health scanning the president, like, it's just a fucking ultrasound.
Yep.
Like, it's just, they just took an
They were
ultrasound
ultrasounding
machine.
his forearm.
Yeah, they just took an ultrasound machine and then wheeled it into the movie set, and they were just like, pretend this is some future science-y health doodad zip-zap.
Scanning his biochip for medical telemetry with an ultrasound.
Like, not only the like, everything.
Yeah.
They didn't try to even, like, mix it up so, like, oh, you can't recognize it. Like, it's just a fucking ultrasound machine with an ultrasound wand, and it's like, everybody knows what that fucking looks like. You guys didn't even try.
Okay, I know we don't talk about these movies, but in the original Star Wars A New Hope, the lightsabers were made from antique camera flash bulbs, and you couldn't tell when watching the film. There were colanders hanging on the wall if you look closely, and even they had, like, goofy shit all over them.
Right. I mean, half the droids were trash cans.
Yeah.
Like,
you very easily could have dressed up an ultrasound machine to make it at least look like a piece of military tech.
This was made back in 2012. Okay, people, they weren't getting ultrasounds back in 2012.
That's true.
This
was ages ago.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They
on,
didn't
makes
even
it
exist back
Come
then.
on,
It
guys.
makes brand new
Convincing
shit.
argument, yeah. Okay, let's see. Health scan. We're going to cross that one off. Okay, this didn't hit my ears right, and it seems so fucking stupid that I must have, like, misunderstood, or maybe you guys can explain it to me. Maybe I'm just dumb. But, like, when they're flying in to the prison, he says, parts of MS-1 are still under construction and need constant maintenance. And I'm like, those two things feel, like, diametrically opposed to me. Like, you are either under construction
Or-
and will later be constructed, or you built a shit space station and it's under constant maintenance all the time.
Yep.
Not both.
No.
Like, it's under construction and needs constant maintenance. To me, those two things feel independent.
You can't maintain something that hasn't been established.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this house, it's under construction and it needs constant maintenance. It's like, you're not...
That's called building.
Maintenance is quite literally the act of maintaining something after it's done.
Trust me, it's what I do for a living.
This is space maintenance, though. You don't know.
Space maintenance.
You don't know
Spatenance.
Spatenance.
Okay, let's see.
Space
Space. Let's see what else I got to fucking complain about. Okay, at the end, when they decide to, like, actually launch an assault on this thing, why the fuck are they sending fighter jets? Why are they sending fighter jets and not just missiles? Send every fucking missile you've got against this thing.
Blow the fucking thing up.
Just blow it up. Why would you need
hang on.
space fighter jets?
Trump card, okay? Trump card here. The space station was already on its way to crash land into the Earth, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if they attack it, kill everybody on board, it's still gonna fall.
Yep.
So why don't you just let it fall?
Because if you break it into tiny little pieces...
It gets worse.
But it could affect a larger area in a less destructive capacity. I mean, would you rather have a big building the size of a city impact in one space? Or would you rather have a bajillion tiny little pieces that could burn up in the atmosphere?
Well, I don't think any of them would burn up in the atmosphere if, like, the guy's spacesuit didn't even burn up.
I'm going to go here and take a third tack and throw a wrench in the gears and say they made very clear that this space station was constructed by capitalists looking to maximize profits. So it's very likely that it's basically made of paper and would not have made it through even the uppermost atmosphere.
No.
So I think it's kind of a moot point. It probably would have exploded on its own just a day or two later anyway. So
Or just leave it.
Yeah.
You're not getting off.
have it. Have the space station.
Well, where are they gonna go?
You're not resupplying.
Yeah.
We're done with it.
Right, yeah.
We can watch it from the police department.
Good job, you took it over.
Yay!
We can watch it from the police department, which is not attached. What else are they policing?
That's it.
Honestly, it would have been the easiest fucking thing if they had just had the police do some other shit that, like, illustrated that their job is not just to respond to crises on the space prison.
That they're only made aware of if a fire alarm goes off.
Yep. Not in the case of all 500 plus space coffins being opened at the same time.
You'd think they'd have a buzzer on that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Or a beeper. Or even a light.
Anything.
A little LED. Or an email.
Speaking of the fucking police thing. Okay, it's literally like the low orbit police department,
Yes.
right? I love how the jurisdictional bullshit that is in every fucking movie ever, where, like, somebody from some government agency walks in and goes, "This investigation is now ours," and some fucking rando cop goes, "Who the fuck are you?" I love how that still works in the space police station, the space precinct.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You just need a trench coat and a suit.
This is my precinct. Who the fuck do you think you are?
We're in charge. I'm the space government.
Space Gov.
Also, why would they not dress him like a prisoner as he, like, infiltrated this fucking thing where clearly only prisoners exist? Like,
That's another great fucking question.
it is just so... They dressed him in, like, this tactical outfit.
Like a SWAT officer.
Yeah, like, a mile fucking off on this ship, you'd be able to see that guy and be like, he's not one of us.
Also, can we please talk about how he got onto the space station?
He went through the space station's butthole.
Yeah.
Just open the door.
He was, like, magna gripped on the bottom of the shuttle that took the hostage negotiator to the shuttle, and then jumped off and landed in the space station's butthole.
Yeah, gravity worked differently depending on the scene. Mm-hmm. You know, in some scenes, you can just jump off and, like, go straight down to Earth. In some scenes, you would just float around.
Yeah.
You know?
And in this scene, he jumped off the bottom of a space shuttle in space, and it worked.
This is a real phenomenon in physics. It's called the convenience theorem. And basically, if you are really important or good looking, then physics works differently for you depending on your circumstances so as to enhance what you're doing.
Right.
You guys didn't know that,
Makes
but
total sense.
yeah, Stephen Hawking actually, like, he penned that like right before, like, all that silly Hawking radiation bullshit. Like, he really, like, sort of cut his teeth on the convenience theorem.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay,
Why wouldn't they... here's my question. Why wouldn't they send Snow to impersonate the negotiator so that he could get a bead on what the situation was?
Oh, because that was like a part of an additional plan.
So that was...
Snow was plan B.
B. Makes sense.
Plan A was just to...
Plan B
Try
for
to get
bad.
Yeah, did not work. Well, he had like the Snapchat glasses,
Yeah.
you know? He was able to...
Actually, it was plan P for probably not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, there's so much more. A couple more things that, not necessarily things that I didn't like, but I think two things we need to do. One, we need to talk about how fucking much Guy Pearce looks like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Like, we need to discuss it.
It's like if Hugh Jackman and Jean-Claude Van Damme were merged into one person.
You know what? I actually thought... So, first of all, I think no matter who you merge him with, I think he's at least 85% Jackson, which is plenty of Jackson.
Yeah.
But I will say...
You mean Jackman?
Hugh Jackson?
Jackman. Huge Jackson.
Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson.
It's not one of the five.
No, huge Jackson.
Oh.
Hugh Jackson, right up there with Keith O'Sullivan and
Yeah,
Ian McClellan.
Yeah, he's
He
been working
was the sixth member of the Jackson Five and clearly didn't make the cut.
It's too big. It's too big.
Huge Jackson. He was too big. It was like they were all right about the same size. Then he was like 6'7".
Yeah.
He was about 300 pounds.
Yeah.
They were like,
Not gonna work.
Doesn't work.
Huge Jackson, you get the fuck out of there. You go hang out with Fat Albert, and the five of us are going to take it from here.
Tito instead.
Okay, so he also kind of looked like Hugh Jackman. And so he's at least 85% Jackman in any mix that you do. But I had the other smaller percentage as Mark Wahlberg.
Okay, yeah, I could see him
He's got
as
a lot
Wahlberg.
of he's got a lot of Wahlberg in him. Fuck, he looks so much like him. I kept looking at him like fucking Hugh Jackman is on the screen right now. Oh no, it's Guy Pearce.
Wait, is this something
Both handsome.
that you didn't like?
No, that's what I said. It was like these aren't necessarily things I didn't like,
okay.
just things we need to discuss.
Yeah.
Like
Hugh Jackson.
he's a huge Jackson.
Yeah, as a Jackson, I can confirm.
Also, I think we need to like rattle off a list if we can. I've got I this is not fair to you guys because I've come up with a list so far, but like of movies that have basically this exact same plot.
Oh God.
Or should I say, not movies that are basically the same plot, but movies that have a similar vibe for one reason or another, either from the plot or from basically the way the movie operates and its tangibility. Mm-hmm. So, Escape from New York, which is fucking exactly what this movie is.
The Gamer with Gerard Butler.
Yes! Mm-hmm. Fifth Element, a little bit of that, which I'm going to get a little bit ahead of ourselves, but I believe John may have called this Die Hard in Space. And I don't disagree with that, but let's be honest, Fifth Element is Die Hard in Space.
Yes.
That's fact. That's canon.
Yeah.
The Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
In a spiritual way.
Just no holds barred.
If you're sitting at Applebee's going like, mozzarella sticks, you'd like the Fast and the Furious, which I do. I'm not knocking that movie. But I like mozzarella sticks. But like, you will also like this movie.
La Brea, Dwayne Johnson.
I've not seen that, but I will believe you. Death Wish.
Yes.
The Running Man.
Yes. Demolition Man.
Demolition Man. Virtuosity, maybe.
Okay.
I've noticed Mark hasn't said much.
Yeah. Well, it's for me. It's not quite like remember Last Starfighter, where it just is Star Wars pulled off the screen.
Yeah, it's so explicitly ripped off the source material.
Yeah, this is
just a, insert ingredients A, B, and C, throw in a blender and serve.
But again, I mean, like, especially like Escape from New York, Gamer, Death Wish, Running Man.
Yeah.
All the same fucking plot.
Yep.
Like, you got Guy in prison, do this fucked up thing, and we'll let you out. And the fucked up thing is usually like, some...
Save this person, or redeem this person, or find this information, or uncover this secret, or
do this fucked up thing for our entertainment.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like this plot is played out in a lot of like trailers for movies that I chose not to watch. You know, like
And here we are.
yeah. And sometimes the movies catch up with you, and you end up watching them regardless.
I think I've exhausted this absolute tome of Oh yeah, sorry, real quick. So I did already say made for American males aged 24 to 29, and then I have a little note here that says hot girl, muscle guy, bad guys with scars, space, guns, boom.
Yep, that's the movie.
That's it.
Speed.
Speed. Yeah. Now
I'm probably going to piss some people off here when I say this, but John Wick.
Well, because of what's his face? Like what was that guy's name again? The bad guy?
the drunk Russian guy.
It's not the bad guy.
Peter Stormare.
Does he end up being was he a good guy?
He was never a good guy. He just wasn't a bad guy.
No.
Those two things are not. They seem like they would be mutually exclusive, but
Right.
they're not.
The dick who was not an ass.
Yeah.
Or the ass who was not a dick.
Now that is a children's story that nobody should hear. It's like the little engine that could, but a little bit darker.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit more of a county jail vibe.
The fart that took a poop.
Yeah. Not all dicks are asses.
The dick that wasn't an ass.
I would wear that on a shirt and wear it in one or two places.
Wait, I was gonna say
I'd wear it here.
Pick and choose, buddy. Okay, so are we ready to move on to Don Quixotes?
Yes.
Okay.
Notice that Mark and I skipped the fight and just let you have it that time.
Yeah, Don Quixotes.
I've been listening to the 2 episodes where we went back and forth on that.
Okay. So I'll
Did we ever get the bottom of what the brain poop thing was? But
Nope.
We're just going to let that one go.
all right, I'm gonna keep re-listening to that episode and trying to figure it out.
You
But
just let it sit and it'll
turn into a goopadoop. We know.
Yep. Okay, I'll go first. My first line is literally one of the first lines in the movie. In this scene, Guy Pearce is getting his face punched in while drunk Russian guy is interrogating him. And he'll say some quick bit, and then he'll get his face punched. He'll say some quick bit, then he'll get his face punched. Meanwhile, he's getting asked questions constantly. At one point, he just says, I guess that's why they call it a punchline, and then woof, he just gets knocked in the face again.
Fucking beautiful.
And again, for me, that was when I realized what kind of the movie this was. You mentioned the scene where he hits the window and cartoon slides off of it. This was my moment. All right, we're here for it. Again, another one of Guy Pearce's lines. This is kind of in the middle of the movie. He's already met the princess, and he's trying to send her on her way. And he's got this MRE. What is the military ration? Is it MRE? Is it
MRE, meal ready to eat.
Yeah. He says, here's an apple. Here's a gun. Don't talk to strangers. And he's just going to send her on her way.
It's a freeze-dried apple in a bag.
Yeah.
And a shotgun.
It is a great line.
Fucking, oh my god, that had all 3 of us dying.
Here's an apple. Here's a gun. Don't talk to strangers. So, what do you guys got?
I have 3, which is to say that I have 7.
That makes 14 total so far.
My first one comes from 3 characters: Peter Stormare, Lenny James, and an extra. And Peter Stormare walks in and takes charge of the investigation. He walks onto the low orbit police department precinct room.
The LOPD.
And the guy's like, who the fuck are you? And he goes, Secret Service. He says, Secret Service? I didn't hear anything about this. And Lenny James goes, well, that'd be why they call it secret, right?
So witty.
And my second line is from Guy Pearce. The bad guys cut the comms, as they all do. In every hostage negotiation, you eliminate communication so that they have to talk to you and only you. So they cut transmission between Guy Pearce and the good guys. And he goes, oh shit, they've cut transmission. And the princess says, who did? He goes, the transmission fairies, of course.
Just shut up.
I mean, that was really his bread and butter.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just insert sarcastic comment here.
Yeah. So my third one is a little less funny because there are some somber lines, not many. So his friend, who was freezer burned and got his eggs scrambled, dies in an accident when the International Space Station collides with the space prison, and he turns into a freezer burned popsicle floating in low orbit.
A PPPPP.
Yes. And he just kind of sinks down. He's feeling very defeated, and she's kind of trying to uplift him and, talk about her very privileged White House life and how she's a humanitarian and she does things that are good for people. And he says, it's easy to be a saint when there's nothing on the line.
Yeah, most of the lines in this movie are like
line.
very funny and witty and kind of just their banter.
That one kind of punches you in the chest a little bit.
That one actually carried some weight.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, you're a really good person, but you have nothing to lose, so it's fine.
Right. It's like, oh, I get $20 billion in the bank. And it's like, excuse me, did you donate $1 million? Like, no, because I don't fucking have $1 million. Nope. Right? Like, you have that to lose.
Yeah.
You have that to part with. It's not a threat to you.
Nope.
Giving $1 million away would threaten me.
Yeah. Giving $1 million away would make me a criminal because it's not mine.
Right. And so for the person who does that, right, gives up their entire fortune and puts themselves on the line, it means more.
Yeah.
You know?
Like
Okay.
if you had $100 in the bank and you gave $100 to somebody versus somebody who has $100 million and you gave $100 to somebody, that person has nothing at this point.
Yep.
And you gave nothing at this point.
There's a parable in the Bible about that.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Okay, so I have 4. So if I were to, say, round up to the nearest 7, I would have 7.
That makes 21.
Yep. So
Blackjack!
21 quotes. Blackjack is here. Jonathan Claymore. Okay, so the first one I have is also in the scene that Mark described in the beginning of the movie where Guy Pearce is getting the shit kicked out of him, and drunk Russian guy says, "I don't like hurting you." And Guy Pearce, again, everything's a fucking quip with him, goes, "Is that why you're having him do it?" Speaking about the guy who's punching his fucking face. Okay, so my second quote is when they initially pitched the idea of going up to the space station and rescuing the princess. He says, "I'd rather castrate myself with some blunt rocks. Actually, I could get Rupert to do it. Hey, how's it going?" For clarification, Rupert is the person who was beating the shit out of him earlier in the room.
Yeah.
Rupert's a doer.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about him.
He's not a thinker.
No, he gets stuff done. That's what he does.
My favorite part about that scene is that after he agrees to do this mission, he immediately just, like, knees Rupert in the balls and drops him, and then walks away.
Mm-hmm.
My third quote is not quite as poignant as Jackson's earlier quote, but a little bit more serious and kind of on the nose than some of the other quotes. But the bad baddie, the baddest baddie, perhaps?
The baddest.
The princess is trapped in a part of the ship, and it's basically impregnable, and he's trying to get that part opened. It's basically a panic room. And he's collecting all of the super smart smarties, the scientists. And you know they're smart because, you know, the white coat.
Lab coat.
Would you say that they're locked out?
They might be locked out.
Yeah.
You might say that. So he collects all the smart smarties and is trying to get them to open the door. And at one point he collects 2 at once and shoots one in the head in front of the other and says, "Hopefully this will short circuit the inevitable 'it can't be done' discussion."
Mm-hmm. Which was fucking awesome.
It is
that's
pretty
such
great.
A great line.
And like earlier, he says like, "Get me this scientist or whatever. Get me
Get
an
me the
engineer."
security
And he's,
engineer.
actually, get me 2.
And we all know what's about to happen in that moment.
Yep.
My last quote is, again, when they're about to send Guy Pearce up into space prison, the drunk Russian is not thrilled about this plan, and he's like, you know, it's not going to work, and blah, 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 and they're kind of debating about whether or not they're going to send him, and Guy Pearce just chimes in with, "I mean, I'm happy not to go." And then Lenny James goes, "You're going." Guy Pearce goes, "Okay." So the whole quote together goes, "I mean, I'm happy not to go. You're going." Okay.
It's like, it's good. Like, it's weird, it's quippy. The delivery is so good.
Yeah.
You could not replace Guy Pearce for anyone else.
No. His delivery was absolutely flawless.
Except for Hugh Jackman.
Huge.
I mean,
Huge
Jackson.
Huge Jackson.
Except for Huge Jackson.
Well, he's bringing it to the table.
Okay, rewinding the tape a little bit, is his whole self huge? Or is there a particular part of Huge Jackson that got him the nickname Huge Jackson?
That's a good question.
Does he have a Huge Jackson?
It's possible.
I mean, we're looking at you.
Yeah.
You know? This is
we're-
in your field.
This is...
As a Jackson, I can speak with authority on this, and I would say maybe.
Okay.
That was conclusive.
We got this on record.
Yeah, no, that was very decisive.
That's a solid maybe.
Yeah.
Would you say?
It's a hard maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that's a definitely maybe. I can see it on his face.
Okay. But it's a hard one.
It's a hard maybe.
Whatever its size, it's
This is a stiff maybe.
it is erect.
Firm.
That's a big old throbbing maybe.
Big old throbbing maybe.
Huge Jackson.
Is throbbing maybe a band name?
Robbing maybe. Yeah.
Throbbing maybe. And on the paper it goes. Okay, so, throbbing maybe.
Oh, Oh, God.
The more you say it, the more I like it.
Yep. Throbbing maybe.
Are we Lurdern?
I think we are Lurdern.
I think we're ready for some riggedy rates.
Are we ready to rate this?
All right. I'm ready. If you guys don't mind me going first, or I can go second.
Go for it.
Even third. Okay. Here
I
we
think
go.
you should go third.
Nope. I'm going first. I'm gonna give this a 5.9 Prison Pops.
Okay. Similar to mine, but not the same.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I wanted to go first.
I'm going to go 6.8 freezer burned popsicles.
Yes. In space,
Yes.
no one can hear you freeze.
Okay, because you guys sort of covered the same territory, I'm going to cover the other part of said territory, and I'm going to say 5.5 PPPPPs.
PPPPPs.
Oh, that's too many. Sorry. I think it was 5 or 6.
Try it again. Give it another whirl.
I feel like I keep overshooting.
Yeah. Sounds right.
Okay.
That's a good summation of the movie.
Get yours now. Okay, so all the rating is done. I think we're just going home now,
Get
right?
the fuck out of my house.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
done.
on
We're
my
done.
I'm going
way.
to bed, man.
I'm walking out of here.
I don't know whose bed it is, but I'm going to bed.
Well, it could be mine.
Ooh.
Could also not be mine.
Yeah. It's a huge maybe. Throbbing maybe.
Wait, hang on. Mark.
Jackson.
Mark, come back. Come back.
Okay.
We got to do the scene score.
Scene score. Ooh. We came at that differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was a roundabout.
And I like where we went.
Yeah.
Roundabout way.
It
Okay.
was a little filthy.
Our scene score. We had 8 respondents this week.
Woo.
Pretty good. Not as good as we've had in the past. For those of you who didn't respond, you're dead to us. Stop
Yep.
listening to the podcast. You're no longer a friend of the podcast.
Yeah.
I think Mike Tyson's probably going to hunt you down and punch you in the face with a
Gnaw off
Morton
your
Stowe.
Morton Stowe.
fistful of Morton toes.
Yep.
Just a nasty fistful
I
of
thought,
Morton
I
toes.
thought he was going to chew one off.
And if Mike's not done with you, Grace is going to send her bears, man.
She's got bears.
Yeah.
Bears.
Da bears.
Da bears.
The
Got
Grace-
the bears, the bulls, the beers, and the nachos.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Colin gave it a 5.5. Mark gave it a 5.9. Jackson gave it a 6.8. That makes for an average score of 6.1.
Nice.
Among those 8 respondents, our average familiarity was 2.5.
Ooh, that's
so-
a little high.
Yeah, higher than I expected, I think. And with that, still below 50%.
Yep.
So we get a slight punch up. Our scene score ends up at 6.9.
Wow. Okay.
But that, I think, fits. Because it's not going to blow you away.
No. This is not a movie that I would, like, if I saw this in theaters, I wouldn't be gushing about this to my friends. I would probably be laughing about it with my friends for a little while. And that's not to say that it's a bad movie. It is not a bad movie. I enjoy it greatly. I also enjoy The Room greatly.
Wait, okay, how do we get to The Room? I'm sorry.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Because it's not a bad movie, and I like it. The Room is a bad movie, and I like it.
Yeah.
You did not!
I did not! So anyway.
Anyway.
Before we go, we need to
Johnson.
read a little ditty from our buddy Jonathan Claymore.
Jonathan Claymore.
What up,
And
Jonathan?
Jonathan Claymore, this is what he had to say about this movie that he recommended. Let's see. Jonathan Claymore, his comments on this were, Die Hard in Space, not well received, but so good. Jonathan, I think we need to talk.
Yeah.
You didn't catch the... maybe there was an element of embellishment with the so good? Maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Perhaps so was a curious choice of word.
Yeah.
You trying to mess with us, John? Nothing?
Just cut the so out, and I think you nailed it.
Not well received, but good. Yeah, that'd work.
But good.
But good.
Yeah.
It's a good butt.
It's butt good.
Yeah.
It's butt good.
Wait, is butt good better than good? Because it's a different kind of good? It's a butt good.
I don't know.
I'm down with butt good.
I'm good with butt good.
It's a butt good.
It's butt good.
Yeah.
It's butt good.
It's a particular flavor.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it's a flavor, all right.
Flavor of butt. Good. Butt good.
Let me see that Tootsie Roll.
Well, stick around long enough. You just might.
Let's see.
I think there's a chocolate starfish in there somewhere.
Oh,
Some
no.
hot dog flavored water.
It's a sad grape.
Is that, you get the sad grape after you have butt good?
Well,
You got to start with a flaccid giraffe.
Oh, yeah, no, you don't start with an erect giraffe. That's outrageous.
No.
Flaccid giraffes, I mean, they're
You
big
start
enough.
with a flaccid giraffe, it gets butt good, you end with
You
a
get
sad
the
grape.
sad grape, and if you don't treat it, you get the goopadoop.
Yep.
I will take exception with a Die Hard in Space, because we all know that The Fifth Element is Die Hard in Space.
Yes.
But Jonathan, if The Fifth Element was not Die Hard in Space,
This would be Die Hard in Space.
this would be Die Hard in Space, so well done. And thank you for the recommendation. I didn't say this before, but I actually had to go out and purchase this movie
Ooh.
to add to the collection. So,
Jonathan, well done.
yeah, you're building my collection here. So thank you, buddy.
Keep it up, Buster. You know?
Buster. We're just going to call him Buster now?
Yeah.
Classic Jonathan, am I right?
Busting a claymore.
Busted a claymore? Do you bust a claymore in butt nice? Or butt good? Butt good?
That sounds really aggressive.
Busting
a claymore.
If it's really butt good, you bust a claymore.
Good.
I think we broke Jackson. He is turning colors on the table right now.
But it's good.
He's got a vein in his forehead that is so swollen. I'm worried he's gonna have a stroke.
That's his giggle vein. That's the giggle vein.
Is that the giggle vein?
Yep. It's
Wait,
providing...
no. Do you put the giggle vein in the butt good?
No.
Keep
you
the
don't.
giggle vein far away
Yes.
from the butt good.
You don't want it in there.
Okay, but you got to admit, giggle vein is a good euphemism for you know what.
Yes, it is. Just leave it out of the butt good.
Well, hey, some of us like the giggle vein in the butt good. It's not. Don't judge me. Don't you yuck my yum.
I'm not yucking your yum.
Just you got to be careful. You just got to be careful.
Wrap up the giggle vein.
Wrap up the giggle vein. Give the giggle vein a raincoat.
Okay, so I think we're learning.
Yep.
I think we're learning.
Yep. This time.
That is all for the El Crep review. Thank you for listening. If you have any ideas for movie reviews, or if you want to get involved and contribute to the Scene Score and get a peek at upcoming movies by taking our short weekly-ish movie familiarity survey, email us at 3, that is the number 3, menandabasement@gmail.com, or you can get to us at our website, tmaab.podbean.com. TMAAB stands for 3 Men and a
Basement.
On there, you can also suggest movies. You can visit our merch store.
Yeah.
Buy a Flaccid Giraffe shirt if you so choose. And please be sure to check out a hella good tour coming our way. We've got Space Force 1.
Yes.
And they're flying to us first class, if you know what I'm saying.
Force 1.
Space Force 1.
Gotta take back my family.
Get off my plane. Get off my spaceship.
Taking you downtown. Low orbit downtown.
Space Force 1. That's a movie.
Oh, yeah.
I would watch that.
I think we did.
I'm going to seriously kick Uranus.
Ooh. All right.
Space puns, you never run out of them,
Yeah.
am I right? Because Sirius is the dog constellation. Jackson seriously did that vein in his head. On second stage, we've got the cigarette case of nutsacks, which they're not good.
No.
but they are bad,
They're very unique.
which is
It's
fun.
a thinking man's band.
Think in peace.
And then bringing up the rear, we've got one big throbbing maybe.
Oh,
You're right up in the rear.
they are so butt good.
Robin Mabies.
They are on tour now. You can also find us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you find your podcasts. Spotify, where else we got? iHeartRadio. Somebody hearts the radios if they're butt good enough. Until then, I am Colin McLeod,
Mark Hope.
Action Jackson.
and we'll see you in cyberspace. Butt good.